Here is my second epistograph video. I am still struggling, so hopefully this makes sense. All right, let's get into this. So I wanted to build upon my first picture because I really like the idea of knowledge kind of being confined, I guess, if you will, in human form, right? And that what separates us from other creatures is just our ability to reason and language and all this other stuff. And so I really wanted to be consistent with my basis for knowledge being in human form. But as you can see, what's different is that I have this scale, if you will, between these two varying ideas of reason and belief. And on top of those, on top of reason, you have metaphysics, and this is kind of your empirical data, right? And I see this as your science, your math, your hard sciences, your math, your 2 plus 2 is always going to equal 4, right? Whether you feel that truth or not, there is data over and over again that's going to give you that same outcome, right? The law of inertia, right? If I remember correctly, it's like an object in motion will stay in motion, right? If it's at rest, it'll stay in rest. If it is in motion, it'll stay in motion, right? And so on this my left side, you have these this understanding of kind of this concrete this, and this, right? Like every time you do that thing, you are going to get this result. And then on the right side, I would say just as important, you have this kind of this normative data. And so I would say that consists of your beliefs, experiences, and culture, right? And so beliefs would also be this relativism of truth, and that on the left side in this empirical data, you have 2 plus 2 is 4. That is true, right? And then this relative truth would be Jesus Christ is the Son of God, right? Like that feels very true to me, but to my friend that is Hindu, that does not feel true, right? And so who's wrong, who's right in that? There is no data that necessarily can prove it, but that doesn't mean that it is not true. It doesn't mean that it is not right. It doesn't mean that I am lacking knowledge or that she is lacking knowledge, right? It's different. It's a belief. But I would also say alongside of beliefs are the experiences that we have. And so I may experience truth, like, you all know that I kind of grew up in the Pentecostal church. And so I've experienced, speaking in tongues, right? Let's say that, right? There is no empirical data that I can show you that will prove to you somehow the way in which 2 plus 2 proves to you that speaking in tongues is a real phenomenon, that it is true, right? The only way in which I can explain my knowledge of tongues is through my experience, my belief, and my culture, right? Through this normative experiences that are still just as true for me as 2 plus 2. So then also under normative, you have belief, experience, and culture. Culture is a huge proponent of what we know and how we know those things. I know in my culture, the answer to why is often, well, because my mom told me that, or that's what my mom taught me when I was a kid. So this is what we believe in, and it is it very much it can be just as much as a law in that culture as 2 plus 2 is, right? Like you will never have 2 plus 2 equals 5 in any culture, right? But in I'm trying to think of a cultural example that would make sense. Okay, so my grandma used to say, if you go outside without a coat on, you're gonna catch the hawk, right? And it's kind of the hawk is outside, right? It's like it's real cold. You're gonna get a cold. You're gonna get a pneumonia, right? Now, scientifically, I know that that's not true because really, I mean, you get a cold from viruses, right? Like it is a viral thing. But according to my grandmother and according to Black culture, when it's cold outside, if you don't have a cold, you are gonna get a cold. So every time I get a cold, right, I know it's because I live and work in a college environment and these kids are disgusting. But my mom, her truth is that it's because this is all I'm wearing outside and I'm still wearing flip flops, right? Like that is just as much true to her as 2 plus 2. Will I spread that truth to my children? Absolutely. Will I be inconsistent because I'm still gonna wear flip flops until it's snow outside? Yeah. And so I think one of the problems with my last epistograph is that it if you I had wheels, right? And so if one wheel was removed or kind of the spoke in the wheel, then the whole thing didn't work. And I think with this, if we knock off, for instance, like metaphysics and reason in some ways, like we need all of these. And so I would still say that this isn't conclusive. I'm still trying to get a picture that that concludes that if one of these, for instance, was impaired or removed for some reason, that the analogy will still work, and I'm not there yet. So I know that is where I still have room to grow, but hopefully this makes more sense than my last one did. Thanks.